KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DePrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DePrima. Go sis. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580, good morning. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DePrima. The show is called First Things First, and my very first thing today and always is prayer, giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and let's go. Man, do we have a lot to talk about today. Some amazing guests, a full show. I know I sound like Tavis Smiley, but he's not on till 9. So the way we do things on a Talking Point Tuesday, this is where we debunk the BS, even some of it that we ourselves say without realizing what we're saying or where we got it from. Hour 1, we look local, what's going on the left coast side of town. Hour 2, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive with a hot topic or a person of interest. We're all jumbled up, but we're also on point. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Hour 2 will be joined by LA City Council member Heather Hutt. But we're actually talking basketball. I know, it's weird. She's going to bring some friends. It's actually pretty interesting, so you're going to definitely want to see what's up with that. And hour 3, it is my honor to talk with, we're going to talk Black History because it is Black History Month. It'll be my honor to talk with Dr. Claiborne Carson. Of course, he is the man that is taking care of, guiding, and shaping the papers, the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but he's just an incredibly deep historian, so looking forward to that conversation. We have a lot of good history this Black History Month, so many great scholars that we have in the weeks ahead, and that's such a blessing given where we are in the world right now. particularly when I say in the world, I mean in America. We're being joined this morning by another amazing guest, and he's live in the studio, which makes it even better because we get to be face to face. And you can join us on YouTube at KBLA 1580. That's at youtube.com. He is a director, a writer, a producer, and an educator. Cue the Black History music, Miles. He is the 2023 SDCF Zelda Fitzchandler Award recipient for his creativity and deep investments in the community. His directing credits of late include Romeo and Juliet at Folger's Shakespeare Library, Look Both Ways at the Kennedy Center, not the Trump Center, the Kennedy Center, Poetry for the People at Theater Alliance, Skeleton Crew at Contemporary Theater of Ohio, and so much more. He was the artistic director at Washington, D.C.'s Theater Alliance for 6 seasons, and he has developed and led international programming promoting cultural preservation, LGBTQIA rights, disability advocacy, peace building, countering violent extremism, human trafficking, and gender-based violence. Sounds like the let me not say it. I don't want to get you in trouble. Raymond O. Caldwell, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate
thanks
you.
for coming in. I was like, Okay, that's the bio. Yeah, not the most wanted poster. I'm so glad you're here.
No.
So you are now, you've been living in LA for a minute.
Yeah,
but
2 years now?
2 years, okay. I say it takes 3.5 to get fully acclimated, but maybe that's just me. I'm slow. But you are here to bring your artistry to the Los Angeles theater community.
Yeah, I just recently became the artistic director of the Fountain Theater. And so I am so excited to be here. You know, I wanted to be a part of a theater company that was doing social justice work. That's been the breadth of my career. And so I wanted to come to LA, the West Coast, the best coast, to do just that.
Well, here's the thing. I have this thing that I have been thinking about, and it sounds like you're already there, which is I feel like the moment we're in history, that a second Black arts movement is needed.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we are on the cusp of something. You know, I think the theater is a really powerful place because we gather in that space. And I think the center of our movements, particularly Black movements, have always been around gathering spaces to gather. And so a theater is a prime space to do that, a space for us to think about what's happening in our world and then to start conversations through art.
And you can be 100% sure it's not AI when you go see a theater performance.
Indeed, indeed. You know, the creativity of a collective of people coming together to make something for a community is a powerful act. And so I love making theater, and I've loved making theater now here in LA for the last 1.5 years.
Yeah, talk to me about that intersection, though, that you are standing in, that intersection between theater or any entertainment kind of piece and social justice. Because, you know, my father taught me, the late great Amiri Baraka taught me that all art is political. So you might as well know what you're saying and not just be somebody's tool, right?
Absolutely.
But I don't know if that's centered in most of the work that we see now. Maybe it is. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that that is about standing in truth and being brave enough to tell the truth. And so the thing I love about the Fountain Theater, the reason I wanted to come lead, is because for the last 35 years, the Fountain Theater has been celebrating and amplifying the diversity of Los Angeles, doing the work because it was the work that was supposed to be done, the things that were supposed to be said, not because they were profitable. And it's so interesting because then the regional theater got into this mode of recognizing, oh, Black work is so important. Let's sell it. Every February, we'll do a Black history play.
Right.
And suddenly our art became commodified. And so the thing that I have centered in my entire career is doing just that. You know, Ntozake Shange was my mentor. And Ntozake told me once, you know, you have something so much more to say. Say it, young man. And she inspired me to go make work. She inspired me to tell Black stories. And so that's been the center of my career.
Yeah. What is that? How does that drive you, or how does it fuel you, or how does it heal you?
Oh, yeah, it does all those things, you know. I was raised by strong black women. I think about my grandmother, I think about my great grandmother, and these women were griots for me. I would sit on my grandmother's Alabama porch and she would tell me stories. And these were stories that I thought were so fundamental to me. And I always would spend the summer, you know, sitting on that porch, going deep into my imagination, trying to think about how do I share out my history, my culture, my stories, those stories that I was not hearing in my schools.
Yeah.
And so I did. I went to school and I studied under the greats, and I learned our history, our culture, particularly that history and culture on the stage. And so it heals me. I am connected to something so much greater than myself, and I feel the shoulders that I stand upon. So it's been the joy of my lifetime. You know, it is why I'm here. It is my purpose, and to stand in your purpose is really powerful.
Yeah, it is. I was one of those people who went to the theater as a little kid and was completely enchanted by it and just drawn into this alternate world, you know. And I feel like because of where we are now technologically, that theater is going to be even more popular, that, you know, because everyone's auto-tuning, we want to see people singing in cafes or rapping on street corners. Because things are AI, because we don't know what's real, that the preciousness and pure originality of a theatrical performance is going to become more and more valued.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think post the pandemic, you know, throughout the pandemic, we went deep into our homes and ourselves. And then we came out of that and never talked about that moment. We never talked about the loss. We never talked about the traumas that we all went through. And so what I find at a theater space, I find a theater space to be healing because it allows us to be together. I think about, you know, again, I raised by my grandmothers, I went to church, and church is a radical healing act, not only because of a belief structure, but also because you sit in community. And at one point of every service, you hold one another, you shake hands. There is something that is transmitted between people. And so theater spaces do just that for me. You know, not only are we asked to hold a story, to imagine a world.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be together.
And it's completely original in that moment. The actor's going to breathe in a different space. They might say the line slightly differently on one night. It's going to be an original, just like an original painting, every single show.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's the thing that, you know, the ephemeral experience of not knowing is so exciting. Every night being so different. That's the magic of the theater, and it's why it's so important for us to gather.
Raymond O. Caldwell is here. You're welcome to join the conversation as usual at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580, or hop on YouTube, youtube.com, KBLA 1580, where we are streaming, and you can see Mr. Caldwell as well as me all the time, all day long. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, coverage. There was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley. The tools to hold a meaningful conversation should not be reserved just for a privileged few. It is a skill our world desperately needs in every community, at every table. So I'm pleased to announce the Founding Members Scholarship Program for my online course, The Art of Conversation, in 4 different categories. The Community Builder, for those who serve others, the Rising Voice for emerging communicators, the Bridge Builder for underrepresented perspectives, and the Determined Scholar for those facing financial hardship. If finances are the only barrier between you and this training, well, let's hurdle that barrier. We're accepting applications right now at TavisTalks.com. That's TavisTalks.com. The priority deadline is February the 10th. So visit TavisTalks.com right now and let's build this table together.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Well, really, you're getting back to Raymond O. Caldwell, and we are really getting back to the theater. But it's one of the reasons I was excited to talk to you is because your work covers all the things that we talk about on this show every day. We're talking politics, we're talking arts and culture, we're talking relationships, all kinds of different things like life. And that is, I don't know, I think we have this weird idea about theater like it's up on a hill and it's so fancy. And, the black theater traditions, of which clearly you're walking in those footsteps, have a lot to do with life and living. And it's not up on a hill. It's us in the trenches. It's us. It's one thing no one can shut down. No one can say, well, you didn't get greenlit. We gonna find a way to do it anyway, right?
Absolutely. We're going to figure out a way to tell our stories, and the history and the history of black theater I find absolutely inspiring, because it is where our movements were really centered. The act of gathering and thinking very deeply about how we solve our problems. That is something that we've been doing since griots. And so I love the idea of getting into a room, gathering, and asking us all to think very deeply. Question how we live, where we live, and then, more importantly, what we do about it. That's the step that I think is so fundamental, the action that we take after we are inspired. Yeah. And I'm in this moment because I'm on the radio every day. I talk to people every day, and a lot of folks do feel discouraged right now. They feel overwhelmed. Even some days myself, I'm reading and I'm getting ready for the show, and just what they did, what, and they're taking away what, and I am very, very clear right now that we need music. We need live music. We need live theater. We need live poetry. We need not just fellowship, but art. We need to feed our souls. And one way of getting Black history without being by yourself reading a textbook or going down a rabbit hole on social media, which may or may not be accurate, is pieces like the one that you have right now, running right this second at the Fountain Theater. It's called Poetry for the People, the June Jordan Experience. Take me through this. What am I going to see? Yeah, Poetry for the People, the June Jordan Experience, is about reintroducing, reaffirming that June Jordan was a brilliant activist, poet, educator who transformed the landscape of our activism. I was supposed to direct the opera. I was looking at the ceiling and then I saw the sky right before the pandemic. And we had to cancel, of course, because opera probably isn't the mode we should be doing in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
But it was in that moment that I learned about June Jordan, and I was so frustrated as I learned more and read more of her poetry and her writing that she was not centered in my formal education. And when I dug a little deeper, I realized that June once wrote, "I was born a black woman, and now I have become a Palestinian." And what she was doing in that verse is she was attempting to ask us to think about the humanity of people. And because of that, she was canceled. She was blacklisted. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to be sure that folks remembered, knew June Jordan, who was just an utter brilliant activist and poet who was more, who wrote music, who wrote poetry, who wrote essays, a real transformative figure. And so I wanted to celebrate this black woman, and I wanted to do it in more than just a play. I wanted to make a full experience for people so that they could learn deeply about who she was.
What does that mean, a full experience?
Yeah, I won't give it all away because I want everybody
You
to
have
come
to
out.
come.
But
Okay, right, right.
you know, I say that I was a student of Ntozake Shange, and so I honor the history of the Korea poem. I honor June's poetry. I honor history. There is music. So it is a full immersive experience. And when I thought about telling June Jordan's life story with my collaborator, Adrian Torf, who was June's life partner, we created this piece together. When I thought about it, you know, who am I to put any words to this brilliant black woman who wrote ferociously, feverishly through her time? And so it actually is about telling June's story through her own words, through her poetry, through her essays, and through the news of her of the time. So I hope to honor her, and I hope that folks are inspired to continue to read June Jordan, because she is speaking to our time right now.
I mean, you can say, well, who are you to write it or whatever, but I guess you're the person that's been tasked with, you know, keeping this history in our consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we don't say people's names, if we don't tell their stories, then right now we can't necessarily count on the Smithsonian to do it for us.
Right. We have to actually be responsible. This is a lesson I learned from my black father. You know, the history that I learned, my history, my culture is something that my father was very adamant about. We watched black television. We read black literature. Black culture was centered for me. And so as I became an academic, a teacher, a griot, the stories that I wanted to tell were just that. How do I teach people about my people?
Well, and theater is where you landed.
Yeah.
It's funny because you can go one way or the other, right? If you've got super militant Black history style parents, and you know, obviously my mom's Italian, so I had the Italian anarchist version of that on mom's side. You can either go, you know, over to Fox News and start, you know, go into total denial, run the other way, or you can lean into it. Obviously, you chose to lean into it.
Absolutely. Be a truth teller, you know, and what I am tasked to do is tell my truth and the truth of my people, and to scream it out loud, to scream it as loud as I can to as many people as I can. That's my life's work.
1867 is on your hat. It's on your head. What are you commemorating there?
The founding of the illustrious Howard University. I was a professor at Howard for 6 years. It's where I spent time doing my research, thinking about Black culture and thinking about Black theater and teaching Black theater and culture.
Okay. So, I mean, that makes sense. Howard is having quite a moment in the world. I mean, you know, it's always been very fundamental to Black American achievement, but with the rise of the vice president, I guess everyone's trying to go there now.
Yeah, I am really excited that this much attention is being poured into Howard University. I will say that, our Black institutions need support, need funding. The young people at that school also need support and funding. The thing that I loved about my time at Howard is that I was meeting young Black people from all around the country, and they were coming together to think about Blackness, to think about global Blackness. And through all of that, many of them needed more support. It is not only an expensive institution, but it's an expensive city.
Yeah.
And so I am really excited that focus is being poured into that institution so that more young people, and a diverse subset of young people, particularly from different socioeconomic backgrounds, because once upon a time, we know that Howard was for a certain kind of Black person.
Right.
And so it is so interesting and beautiful to see socioeconomic diversity being centered at the institution as well.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to see it. I went to San Francisco State, despite my dad's efforts to get me to go to Howard, where he went and my brothers went. But I had a TV show, so I'm like, no, I'm not giving up my TV show. I'm going to stay at my little state university and do my thing. But I certainly sometimes, wonder, because I see the vibrancy and the confidence that everyone that I know that's graduated from Howard or even gone there for a time has. And I think, that's something that you cannot replicate.
Yeah.
It's very noticeable. We're talking with Raymond O. Caldwell. You're welcome in the convo, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Volunteers packed food boxes at the Islamic Center of Detroit for Ramadan, part of a 15-year effort led by Islamic Relief USA.
I wanted to be out here to help others who may be in need, who may not be able to afford to eat when they break their fast.
The boxes provide enough staples to feed a family of 5 for a month during the holy season when Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset. The Justice Department is required to unseal records today tied to last month's raid on a Fulton County, Georgia election office. The county wants the search warrant affidavit made public after agents seized hundreds of boxes from the 2020 election. And Public Enemy is reimagining their classic He Got Game with a new women's empowerment anthem titled She Got Game, featuring Flau'jae, Redna MC, and Cindy Blackman Santana. Proceeds benefit the Women's Sports Foundation and the Black Music Action Coalition's Female Fund. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In the new year, make one commitment. Don't let someone else's carelessness leave you paying the price. OPO Law has been protecting Los Angeles for nearly 50 years. So if you're injured this holiday season or at any time in 2026, go to opolaw.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers lost to Oklahoma City Monday night, 119-100 at Crypto.com. OKC snapped the Lakers' 3-game winning streak. Both teams did not have their best player. Luka Doncic is still recovering from a hamstring injury. OKC's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the NBA's MVP last season, is out with an abdominal strain. LeBron had 22 points and 10 assists. The Clippers are back in action tonight at Houston. Guard Benedict Mathurin, one of the players the Clippers got from Indiana in the Ivica Zubac trade, will make his Clippers debut tonight. For Clippers fans unfamiliar with Mathurin, you're going to like him. The 4-year veteran from Arizona has some pop to his game. Top 5 women's college basketball teams in this week's national rankings: UConn, 23-1 UCLA, South Carolina, Texas, and Vanderbilt. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in Black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized. The families who watched their inheritance disappear. The wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you for waking up with us. Are you up yet? We certainly would love to hear from you at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Raymond O. Caldwell is here. He's a newly minted Angelino. I think you're newly minted until at least 3 years in. I don't know. I've been here a long time. I've been officially adopted. But he is directing a play right now, June Jordan. It's really Poetry for the People is what it's called, the June Jordan Experience. And we have, luckily, fortunately, as people, lovers of Black history and culture, we have so many great poets and writers and painters and playwrights to choose from. What was it that specifically drew you to June Jordan?
You know, June Jordan was a Renaissance woman, a woman who was involved in the movement. She worked closely with Fannie Lou Hamer and became very close to Fannie Lou Hamer. She wrote about the Black experience. She turned her eye to the global stage, and she was writing and centering intersectionality before we had the language for that. She was constantly ahead of her time. She worked with R. Buckminster Fuller to redesign the projects in Harlem. And so a real Renaissance woman who I just had to know more about, and I needed to share with people. I needed to send her this Black woman's story. And her poetry, which is so powerful, drew me to her. She screams so loud on the page, and then to go and listen to her say her poems, you know, her voice is so soft, almost soft while it screams through her work. It's powerful. She's powerful, and everyone, you know, part of the experience of creating this was to begin talking to people who also knew and loved and were taught by June. And every single one of them say the same exact thing, that she was a brilliant teacher who transformed their lives. And so I've spent the last 3.5, 4 years making this piece, and June has been transforming even my life.
That's always a good thing when you take on a project, an artistic project, and it changes you. Mm-hmm. I feel like LA, actually being from the Bay Area, kind of gets I think it gets a short sale when it comes to theater. I think we think of this as Hollywood, razzle dazzle, glitter, you know, Baywatch or whatever. And people don't realize how strong the theater scene here is. If you think about it, it makes sense. There's tons of actors here and directors and writers and people who are coming here trying to so-called make it.
Yeah.
And you're available a lot of the time to do important work. So I've been very pleasantly surprised for the past 3 decades or so that I've been in LA, how much great theater is here.
Absolutely. And, you know, there are a subset of folks who are doing film and TV here, of course. And you know, the thing that I've been learning since being here is people also yearn for art. And the thing about being in a theater is it's really going to test your artistic skills because the audience is live there. So it is really a space for craft as well. And it's one thing that I've loved about the Fountain Theater since I've come and now taken over as artistic director is the craft that we are able to center, the craft of acting and singing and movement. It's a really high caliber, and so it is a blessing to be in this city, to have so much talent.
Yeah, there really is, and it's never boring. I love the Bay Area. That's where I'm from, but I won't be moving back.
I'm really excited. Poetry for the People actually is going to tour up to Berkeley.
Oh, nice.
June Jordan was a faculty member at Berkeley, and her program, Poetry for the People, actually was founded at UC Berkeley. And so the show will go up mid-February, and there's a whole week-long focus on celebrating June Jordan, her activism, her program, Poetry for the People, and her legacy. And so I'm excited that this play is going to launch that week-long festival, and excited for all of the conversations about June that are happening even at Berkeley.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I'm sure it'll get an amazing reception in the Bay Area. It's another theater market, as they say.
Absolutely.
What do you think about, you know, where we are now in terms of the impact on the arts? Like I guess the Kennedy Center is going to close down for a couple years.
Yeah, that breaks my heart as well. The last show, I just had the honor of adapting Jason Reynolds' book, Look Both Ways, which centers young people of color who are walking home and the community and what these young people learn from one another, and really centers love. And the fact that a space like the Kennedy Center, which was formative for the creation of so much work, is now being closed. But that's purposeful. That's intentional. We know what spaces are attacked first as governments move towards authoritarianism. And the space where we collapse first are artists, because artists ask society to think very deeply, actually question the state of our society. And so the first people that are always attacked, that are always silenced, are the artists. And so that's no surprise. And so the real question for us is then how do we show up? Because there are more institutions than just the Kennedy Center. How do we actually show up to our local regional theaters and support them? Because arts organizations are under attack. We are seeing our funding disappear rapidly. So it's our job, it's the people's job to show up for their cultural institutions.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. Those are the things that can throw a person into despair. Okay, first the president wants to name the thing after himself, then he fires everybody. Now the artists are like, hell no, we're not doing that. And then it's shut down. And I look at, giant gaping hole in the side of the White House, and I think, okay, what is he going to knock the whole thing down? Is it going to be rebuilt as a gilded, Vegas salon? Like, what is happening? We don't know. But you're right. It is our responsibility, and it's really our joy to make art however and wherever we make it, and not rely on institutions, no matter how beloved they might be.
I'm trying to always think about how do we inspire folks to re-engage with their imaginations, because our imaginations are actually how we solve the greatest problems of our times. But arts funding has been stripped from schools. Our arts institutions are being not funded. So where are we actively learning to use our imaginations? People are reading less and less. And so how are we engaging our own imaginations? And so imaginative play, spaces like the theater, are really vital spaces for our brains.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen data on that. I guess you're probably, you know, it sounds right. People are reading less and less. I haven't seen that data. I know that the literacy data that I saw was very alarming, especially when it came to us. But then again, I also am aware that young people are accessing information in different ways. I was yelling at my son for, to put the phone down, and I wish I never got you that thing because you used to always be in a book. And then I get, Mom, I'm reading this, and it turns out to be some book that I really wanted him to read, but he was reading it on his phone. So I don't, and I know they're taking in information in bits and bytes from social media and things. So I don't know whether to be worried or in awe.
Yeah, technology is actually doing something very interesting to the brain. I do think about, what it is to read on a mobile device versus what it is to have the tactile book itself. The sensation of reading a physical book, there is something that is transmitted from the printed word. And the fact that I on my phone, because I read on my phone now, I'm an avid reader. But the thing is, when I get a notification, I'll just toggle over and hit that notification. I can very much more easily be distracted on my mobile device. Mm-hmm. And so it is like reading asks for a certain type of attention because, again, we're working to inspire the imagination. The theater does the same exact thing. We're physicalizing that written word. So yeah, and I think the data around the closing of bookstores, the library systems not being tapped in and utilized and being underfunded, I mean, there is a connective tissue to it all. Cultural institutions, because a library, a theater, a museum are all cultural institutions, and every single one of them are under attack. And so again,
might as well throw in universities while you're at it.
Absolutely.
But so back to that, I mean, supporting cultural institutions means showing up to the work, like your show, Poetry for the People, the June Jordan Experience, which is now on at the Fountain Theater.
It is. And we have a special program. I wanted to be sure that for so long, cost has been a barrier for folks. And that's a very real thing. And so we have something called a living ticket model. We go ahead and let you know the cost of our production, which is very expensive. It is an expensive show. And we invite the audience to name the price of their ticket, because I want to be sure that cost is not a barrier to the entrance of an experience of both June Jordan and the Fountain Theater.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of the Nipsey Hussle model. I love that for us. And what we found, we're seeing it right now with the rapper La Russell out of the Bay Area, is that many times, people that can pay more than you would have charged them for the ticket. Oh, this is what it costs. We better put in a little more. You can go to fountaintheater.com. And just like the Roby, who is just often on this show, it's R-E. It's not E-R. It's Fountain Theater. You have to spell it R-E, fountaintheater.com. And you can find out about Poetry for the People, the June Jordan Experience. You can buy tickets there, but can we also walk up?
Absolutely. We are open an hour before. We have a beautiful cafe as well, so come up, grab a bite, grab some drinks before the show. And yeah. Box office is open an hour before every show.
Okay, and you are running through, this says through March 29th. So it's quite a run. That's wonderful. Wow, rare and wonderful. So it must be a great show. I'm going to, I'm good for elephants in the room. Fountain Theater, we don't think of it as a black theater space. I mean, just being an honorary Angelino, that's not the first place I think of to get a black theater experience.
No, the Fountain Theater has been producing all kinds of work for the last 35 years. Black work as well. Many black playwrights got their premiere at the Fountain Theater. But the Fountain has really been focused on diversity, really amplifying all of the very different diverse voices that are here within Los Angeles. I think that when Black leadership arrives at an organization, there is very easily the assumption that that organization is going to become very Black. And I've said this about my leadership of every institution that I've led, is that I bring my cultural values to my leadership. And so the cultural values of my organization will continue to celebrate and center the diversity of Los Angeles, and through a Black aesthetic, because I am a Black artistic director.
Right.
And so you cannot separate those two things. And so while the Fountain has not been a traditionally Black theater, nor has the Geffen, and it is now being run also by a Black man. And so it's interesting to watch how aesthetics, particularly Black aesthetics, and it's something that I loved centering at Howard, teaching at Howard, how Black aesthetics can actually transform traditionally white institutions.
Yeah, even if the show isn't Black, that I do know this about the Fountain. They are known for artistic excellence.
Indeed. And for the last 35 years, I mean, the folks who have been on our stage, I stand on those shoulders as well. And so it is a really intimate theater. And because it's so intimate, there's a real power there. As you sit so close to the 76 other people in the theater, the actors, the performers you can touch them. And that's powerful. There's an energy that is transmitted between both the audience and the performers that just makes it's the stuff of magic.
He means you could touch them.
You shouldn't.
You should not do so. They're close enough to touch, but you won't touch them.
No.
Yeah. But that's part of what makes it different, right? Part of what makes it special in community. And so, supporting institutions in this moment when they're being undermined. I mean, we talk about it all the time on this radio station because we are a Black institution too, and we're building it, And right now, when people say there's this sort of meme going around on social media that, DEI only helped white women. And I feel like someone in the Trump administration wrote that because it is so not true.
Yeah.
And if we buy that, then we go, oh, never mind DEI. But if you look at, that's already impacting KBLA. I'm sure it's impacting the Fountain or, any other cultural institution, because it could be training. It could be a grant that was set aside for, a diverse group. It could be just helping to get the word out about a piece, all kinds of programs that have gone away.
Absolutely. And our work now, so many cultural institutions are beginning to bend, are beginning to change their missions so as to get in line.
Yep.
And what I've made very clear and what my board has made very clear is that we at the Fountain Theater will not be doing that. We will continue doing the work that we've been doing for the last 35 years. It would seem strange in this moment to stop doing that political work, to keep telling the truth. And so in this moment, it's really difficult for many cultural institutions. Folks are having to collapse programming, are having to lay off folks.
Yeah.
And it's vital more now than ever that we live our mission and that we inspire others within our community to not only understand our mission, but also live our mission alongside us.
Yeah, we're talking to Raymond O. Caldwell. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in Black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized, the families who watched their inheritance disappear, the wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley. The tools to hold a meaningful conversation should not be reserved just for a privileged few. It is a skill our world desperately needs in every community, at every table. So I'm pleased to announce the Founding Members Scholarship Program for my online course, The Art of Conversation, in 4 different categories. The Community Builder, for those who serve others, the Rising Voice for emerging communicators, the Bridge Builder for underrepresented perspectives, and the Determined Scholar for those facing financial hardship. If finances are the only barrier between you and this training, well, let's hurdle that barrier. We're accepting applications right now at TavisTalks.com. That's TavisTalks.com. The priority deadline is February the 10th. So visit TavisTalks.com right now and let's build this table together.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
It's so exciting. I love the theater. And if you haven't gone, I would suggest you do. I do think this is the perfect moment for going to stuff like theater. You know, you guys notice I've been a little sleepy a little more often. I usually don't like to go out on school nights. That's what I call any night where I have to be here. It's 5:59 and 58 seconds before my show starts. But look, I need it, right? I've been going to more jazz, more hip hop, more theater, because it reminds me that we win in the end. You know, I grew up with this, you know, my parents getting harassed by the government for things they said and activism that they did. But the arts are so inspiring and so renewing, and you have a whole full season. I mean, of course, the June Jordan Experience, Poetry for the People, is what's happening right now through the end of March, but you've got a full lineup, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, gathering is a radical act, particularly in this moment. And so I invite folks to continue to come out and gather with us. We have an amazing season planned. I am trying to get us to think about our time. The next play that we're doing, that we're helping develop, it's going to be a world premiere. It's a beautiful play about a woman who literally reanimates her mother, brings her mother back to life.
Wow. Weird.
And the trauma around what that might ignite. Scientifically, we are on the cusp of some things. Yeah. And so what's the fallout of that? So it's a beautiful play. Followed by that, we're going to be celebrating Athol Fugard, the South African playwright who called the Fountain Theater his home in the U.S. As he wrote his activist theater for and about South African experience. We'll be doing a whole festival of his work this summer. And then I am absolutely thrilled to end the season with Confederates by Dominique Morisseau. I absolutely love Dominique. I am trying to direct all of her work, her full canon. And so excited to end the season with a really thought-provoking play that asks us, how far have we actually come in our own Black liberation?
Yeah, it's a good question. I always say that Civil War isn't over. We just went to a Cold War.
Come on, say that.
And That doesn't mean that we won't win in the end. I just, we're in a tough moment. Doesn't mean we won't win in the end. We only have a couple minutes here, Raymond O. Caldwell. And I know that the reason you got up at 0:30 is because so people will come and see June Jordan. So tell us whatever is left to say this morning about your show.
Yeah, I think the last thing that I'll say is that, what June Jordan centered in her life, in her poetry, was love. That love was a really, really transformative, powerful thing. And so what I invite all of the listeners who are up with us this early is to come out and to experience that love. I think we need to experience love now more than ever so that we can learn to love ourselves unconditionally so as to love the world. And so love as a radical act, gathering as a radical act, and poetry and art as a radical act is why I would love for folks to just come out and be together. It's a beautiful play, and the 6 women who are on that stage singing and dancing and telling June Jordan's life story through her poetry are just I am transfixed by them regularly.
Yeah, I haven't seen the show yet, which I hate. I wish I would have seen it before we got to talk. But I'm looking at the cast, and they look quite varied, vibrant, and amazing.
Yeah, June believed that, much of her work was and centered intersectionality. What was America? America was this diverse subset of stories that are complicated, that crash against one another, that push against one another. And so I wanted to show that world and tell June Jordan's story through the way she saw the world.
Well, I will definitely be coming to see your show. No question about it. I will definitely be coming. I'll let y'all know what night I'm going. So in case you guys want to join me there, we can meet up at Poetry for the People, the June Jordan Experience, running now through March 29th. But I would go now because you never know what's going to happen in America. Fountain Theater, RE.com, fountaintheater.com. So nice to meet you, Raymond O. Caldwell. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a wonderful morning with you.
Break a leg.
Thank you.
All right, we are opening up the phone lines next. Yeah, a judge struck down the mask mandate. We'll unpack that next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Volunteers packed food boxes at the Islamic Center of Detroit for Ramadan, part of a 15-year effort led by Islamic Relief U.S.